Whether you watch porn or pretend that you don't, it's a global industry full of many performers, but we don't know the stories behind these performers. Fortunately, I was able to sit down via Skype with a current adult film actress, and Skype actually worked for once, so there's that, to discuss what the porn industry is actually like. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this interview.
I spent my life pushing myself to be the strongest, and now I learn there's a power level I'll never reach on my own. And I hate that.
In today's episode, I'm joined by Mia Lee, who is an adult film actress. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question may be a little bit obvious, but I'll ask it anyways. What made you decide to get into this industry?
I don't think that's a very obvious answer.
Or question.
It's a very different thing for every individual, and I entered the adult film industry when I was about 23, and I had a square job that pretty much dried up. It was somewhat seasonal, and thinking that I wouldn't have a break from it, and being told you suddenly don't have a job for 3 months, I was racking my brain like, what could I do? How could I take charge of my life in a way that is true to myself and is impactful? And the unlikely answer, I think, for a lot of people is pornography.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up in adult film because I really wanted to express my sexuality in a way that I could have ownership over it. And now that has branched out into these endeavors of sexual education for the public and having a queer POC like brand out there, which I am. It's really important, so I'm glad that I took the dive and took the plunge into adult film for these opportunities, and that's what really motivated me.
How has your career affected your personal life?
My personal life, I don't think it really has. It has definitely shifted my approach to vetting people who I want to be part of my life. I definitely have a very high standard as to how people view sex work, for one, how people view porn, how people view sexuality. So I tend to only really invite people who are more liberal-minded and open-minded into my community. And for me, I'm very public with my civilian friends. I'm really the only sex worker in the group, and they're very accepting of what I do because I speak openly about it. I'm very proud of what I do, and there really isn't a sense of shaming from the people that I am with. And I think a big thing for me was when I started dating. For the entire time we had been interacting in that way, even before that, he knew what I did, was respectful of it, had made no assumptions of my boundaries or what I do in the interpersonal level when it came down to us becoming intimate. And that's a big deal for me. That is definitely one of the reasons why I kept him around in my life, because I'm not just my brand in his eyes, I'm this whole person. So it definitely makes me pickier as to who I let into my life in that way.
Have you told your family?
I've told select bits of my family. Like, my goals for 2016 are like, okay, start up your blog, come out to your family, and like, I don't know, be better about washing my car or something like that. But periphery members of my family, like my cousins that I'm close to, some of them know, but the bulk of my family does not know. But then again, I may not know that they know because I've done stuff for Funny or Die, and I was on Comedy Central, and the AVN streams on Showtime, and I was on that. So I'm not sure if we'd all rather not have this out there or if they are truly still in the dark. But it's definitely a to-do. It's a big to-do, and I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do it now that I'm kind of getting out there a little bit more.
What does a particular day in the industry look like?
I don't think there's a cookie-cutter day, because although I am an adult film, I can a lot from home. I have days off. So a typical shoot day, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I live in San Diego. I don't live in LA. where the majority of the shooting happens. So usually if I have a call time that's early in the morning, it means I'm getting up even earlier in San Diego to make the 2-3 hour drive to LA. I get my hair and makeup done if I haven't done it already. I do all my legal paperwork and check in. I meet my other talent. We check each other's tests, or the producer or production assistant will show our tests to each other. And then we're told, this is the scene, these are the acts that you need to perform, this is the runtime, these are the positions, and go. And there may be cuts in between positions, but overall that's pretty much it. And after, we get the pop shot if it's a boy-girl scene, or we get the allotted content if it's not a boy-girl scene. We shower up, get paid, and then go home, and that's pretty much it. There's a lot of sitting in traffic. I think I spend the majority of my work day sitting in traffic than being on set some days, which is crazy. If it's like a feature film when it's an all-day thing with a bunch of different scenes, then I'll spend more time actually at work. But a typical shoot, pure content day for, like, say, like a subscription site, I'm in traffic a lot more than I'm working.
What are the best and worst parts about being an adult film star?
The best part would have to be having a career that enables me to continually explore myself and my boundaries and my sexuality and the sexualities of others. It's a really rare opportunity to have that chance and have that be part of my career growth and professional growth, to always be on top of knowing myself in that way. And I think the worst part is the stigma and the assumptions that come with it, especially from people outside of the industry. But there are also some assumptions that are made of talent by people within the industry. But the thing that you have to know is that we're people, and we all have different lives and different perspectives on things. And just because we are paid to have sex on camera doesn't mean that we're going to have sex and be happy with anyone approaching us and doing that. It's not an open invitation for everyone. It's not that sort of thing at all.
What is something that you'd want to say to people who stigmatize your career?
Oh man, that's such a loaded question. I'm not sure if I were to speak, they would even hear me, And that's the problem with stigma. The problem with stigma is that it is based on an irrational prejudice that is created out of your own personal experiences. So if you were to take those away and just look at me as a person, as someone who has a career, who owns my body and can make decisions on it, and I'm participating in something where there is no one's a victim. In all the scenes that I've worked and who I am, I'm not a victim. I'm here of my own volition, and just respect that.
The good side is that you do make a lot of money doing it.
Well, I would say I make a decent amount of money, but being an independent contractor, like adulting is tough across the board. And I get paid a very different rate compared to other independent contractor, and I don't make as much as a lawyer, that's for sure. It's a different profession, so it has its plus sides and its downsides. I don't have a square 9 to 5, so that means that the rate at which I have bookings and shoots depends on my reputation, my reliability, my status, and making sure I'm clean, which is a great thing to have anyway. But there are a lot of factors that go into the success of my career.
Is there a reason why you chose to get into hardcore porn instead of softcore porn?
I've shot a lot of softcore pornography. Oftentimes the companies that shoot hardcore will do a take of softcore so they can sell that to like cable networks and whatnot. And there really isn't a purely softcore market. You really wouldn't have, I'm sure you can make a career out of it, but from my experience and the opportunities that I've seen before me, maybe as who I am, the choices that I've made, having a career just out of softcore, it really isn't realistic these days. From where I am as a person of color who is openly bisexual and queer. Okay. It's not really something that I've seen as a feasible thing, and I'd rather have sex. I'd rather have sex and have my reactions be genuine reactions that read on camera.
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for people who are considering getting into the industry?
do your research. I get this question asked a lot, and a lot of my friends who are performers also get this asked a lot, and it's one of the most like headache-inducing questions because no one got into the industry the same way. Everyone found a way and carved their own path, and that's the first test. The first test to get into the industry is getting into the industry, finding a way, doing your research, and navigating that. And some people get into it through other forms of sex work, through camming or knowing friends who do films, or through feature dancing and encountering other performers in film, or just doing the research and finding an agent and starting that way. So carve your own path, and that's my only advice. Carve your own path and know yourself sexually before being willing to get paid to have sex with people.
Okay.
Like, that's really important.
Yeah, because you might jump in and find out it's not for you, and you don't want to find out at that
Yeah,
point.
you have to have a good grasp on who you are sexually and where your sexuality fits into your life, because it's not sunshine and daisies and orgies all day. No, it's work. You're performing. You're paid to work. You're paid to be a model and take care of your body and be clean and be responsible.
Do you have any plans for life once you get out of the industry?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If I were to retire and be happily and comfortably set, I would be a really amazing dog mom, which I hope I'm doing right now to my dog, but hopefully other animals, and rock climb a lot more. I compete in rock climbing competitions. I kind of just started this year, and I really love that, and I want to go outdoors more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I would just travel a lot more and just, live life.
Is this a decision that you've ever regretted?
No. I've never regretted it. No, I've always been really happy. There have been moments where I am curious as to, like, what if I want to be a professor? Like, what if I want to hold a square job? I don't want to give this part of myself up, but I know that there are social conflicts. And that's where I have some I wouldn't say second guessing, but it's like, okay, I made my bed sort of ordeal, because I understand how the world works and how people look down on sex workers.
Yeah.
But do I regret it? No, I wouldn't give it up for anything.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, you can check out Mia Lee's YouTube channel. Just click the Love Mia Lee button. She discusses her personal life as well as the porn industry on her channel. If you like what I do on my channel, you can check out my most recent episode over here, which discusses whether or not marijuana should be legalized, or you can just go ahead and subscribe.